Welcome to another episode of It Was All a Dream with Daniel Ewing. Of course, that's me. I have a very special guest today. Uh, I can say a lot of things about this man. He has a very special and intriguing and interesting story that I can't wait to hear more about and let you guys hear. Uh, Founder and CEO of Active Faith Sports, I introduce to you Lanny Smith.
Man, D, thanks for having me, man. Excited to be on here with you, man, and share my story with you, man.
Man, I appreciate you taking the time out, man. I really do, man. I'm excited to talk to you, bro. And
Yep.
Like I said, hear more about, the story that's already been kind of out there, considering your success and what you're doing now, but also to let the people here, man, and give them a chance to dive in more and learn more about who Lanny Smith was, more so the basketball side of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know. They know of you from basketball because that show, everything you do, you incorporating
Yep. Yep.
hoop. You know what I'm saying? So just letting them know the basketball side of it and how that took you to where you're at now.
Yep. Yep.
First, we'll start off like this, man. How are you holding up with everything that's going on, man? The pandemic.
Yeah.
The state of America, what we in right now. How is everything with that? How are
Yeah,
you?
man. My family is healthy, you know what I'm saying, and safe. So, first and foremost, man, I'm blessed, man. Out of anything, with everything going on, to be able to say that we in good health, is a blessing, man. So, and then as far as, man, the state of this country, man, it's wild times right now, man. It's unprecedented for everybody, I think, from a standpoint of the pandemic literally making the world stop, and I think it's touched. I think this is the first time, obviously, in our lifetime where we've seen something that has touched every single person, regardless of your status, your socioeconomic status, or what you do. From top to bottom, nobody has been untouched by this, man. So that's been crazy. And then obviously the racial tensions and everything that's going on with the movement in the streets, man, to try to have our voices heard, about the equality for Black people in this country, man. I think I've never seen it in this way where, man, it seems like our voices might be getting heard. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen this movement of corporations and companies coming out making the statements that they've made in support of Black lives. So it's interesting, man. I don't know what to quite make of it yet, but we definitely living in some unprecedented times right now, man.
Man, for sure, man. And I don't, for those who know Lanny and follow him maybe on the social media platforms, he's been I guess we can say you've been on the front lines, or you've moved towards the front lines of this movement, and
Yeah.
and you're making your voice known and heard, using your platform for good. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
rightfully so. I know your company producing masks. When the initial phase of the pandemic, you guys put out some production of masks for the people and for the safety and health of everyone. So man, I applaud you. I applaud you, bro, for what you're doing, for trying to bring people together.
Yep.
And fight this fight. We need voices like you. Especially coming from a man of faith, a Christian background. We need young men and individuals to also have that radical thought process of, like you said, man, like it feels like we're actually might be heard this time, but also having that Christian aspect of, what it's really all about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Loving your neighbor as yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, and not to be too preachy, but we still need that. We still need that. We still need that word, right?
Yeah.
In this time, like even probably even more so than ever, like we still need to reflect on the word of God and what it says, and and the word says that his word would never come back void. And so
Yeah.
a lot of what the Bible has talked about is kind of coming to fruition. You know,
100%.
if you know the word, you know what I'm saying.
100%.
But we'll get into the actual state of America and all that a little bit later.
Yep.
But like I said, I applaud you, man, and your team and the stuff that you guys are doing right now for the initial movement and the stuff you guys have done to help the pandemic in the way that you guys have.
Appreciate that, man.
No
Appreciate
doubt.
that.
But on a lighter note, man, it's only right that we really start the conversation off with the show is called "It Was All a Dream." What was the initial dream for you, man?
Man.
What was the initial dream?
Man, from age of 4, man, my dream was to play in the NBA. I mean, my mom she's kept so much stuff, but she's got stuff from elementary school where, you have those times in class where you're supposed to do a project and they ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right. And I put a professional basketball player. That's what I wanted to be. And that was something that I worked for and I thought about every day of my life since then. You know what I mean? Every birthday when I blew out them candles and I was making a wish, my wish was to be an NBA player. I kept the same wish every year. My mom, everybody I knew, they knew what Lanny was going to wish every year. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, that was my dream, man. That was the thing that motivated me every day growing up was to reach the NBA.
So you mentioned, man, your mom, and I know, like I said, I've seen interviews and and saw you talk about stuff in the past, kind of about your upbringing and your childhood. Talk a little bit more about the influence and the impact your mom had on you, man, growing up and being in a single parent home.
Yeah, man. Alfreda Smith, man, she's amazing, man. So my mother, her parents, neither one of them made it past a 3rd grade education. She's from a small town called Gina, Louisiana, and obviously grew up in segregation, and was obviously experienced the integration of schools and all those different types of things. But there weren't many opportunities in that small town that she grew up in. Grew up poor, and man, she took her education serious. Was the first in our family to go to college. And when she moved to Houston, my mother became one of the top computer programmers in the city of Houston, man. And so to give that context, Houston is the 4th largest city in the country. And you're talking about this Black woman from a small town in Louisiana who becomes one of the top computer programmers in the whole city of Houston, man. And so just seeing her work ethic growing up and seeing the fact that she didn't let where she came from or the obstacles that was set before her prevent her from reaching something that, I mean, honestly, you would think that would be impossible. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've seen the movie Hidden Figures with the women who were doing what they were doing at NASA. And when I saw that movie, man, I had so much pride because it reminded me of my mother. You know what I'm saying? For her to be able to reach the heights that she has reached as a computer programmer and a Black woman, man, it is I had a lot of inspiration just growing up with that. You know what I'm saying? And then her being a single mother, raising 2 boys. She raised us in the church. She made sure that, faith was something that was at the forefront of our lives, you know what I'm saying? And so even, as she put us in the sports and everything else, our faith was something that was always something that she instilled in us, man. So, man, she's been one of the biggest inspirations of my life. And also one of the reasons why I feel like I worked so hard, whether it was, in that pursuit of basketball and even afterwards and what's happened in my career afterwards, seeing the sacrifices that she made and the success that she's been able to achieve, I feel like I would be letting her down if I didn't take that a step further. You know what I mean? I've got to take the advantages and the opportunities that she provided for me, and I gotta do something with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she's one of the biggest inspirations of my life.
Man, that's dope, man. Shout out to Mama Smith.
Yes, yes.
Definitely, man. I definitely couldn't imagine. You know, you can't really imagine the struggle of of being a single parent, let alone a single mother raising two sons, right?
Yeah,
In America, in this world that we live in, that's always been crazy and unforgiving. But even so, the fact that we're a young black man growing up, with all the stuff we have to go through, stuff we have
yeah.
to be on the lookout for. So, man, I definitely applaud your mother for raising a great young man, and obviously you, like you said, I think she should be very proud of the things you've accomplished, and you still have way more life to live. The Lord willing,
Yes, sir.
you have more to give. But okay, so you say mom was a great influence for you and inspiration. You've always, since the age of 4, wished and dreamed of wanting to play in the NBA.
Yep.
Where did this Michael Jordan? Where did the Michael Jordan fanatics come? Like when did that kick in, man?
Bruh, I mean, I had to be, how old was I? I was 7 when they won the first championship. And man, I don't know. It was something that captivated me about the way that he played. And obviously it transcended the game, to see the commercials. And the shoes, man, it was just, I mean, everything about Michael Jordan was I was obsessed. I mean, my mom has kept my room pretty much the same after I left. And you go to my room right now, it's nothing but Michael Jordan posters, up on the walls. And man, it was just I don't know what it was, man. It was just I was hooked, man. I wore number 23 my entire career. Everywhere I played, I wore number 23. And it was based on that inspiration for him, man. I remember, man, my entire career, we're always in those situations, those high pressure situations. End of the game, you got to make a shot or you got to make a free throw, and I don't care what anybody tells you, even if you have the heart, the clutch gene, whatever the case may be, you feel it when it's those moments. You know what I'm saying? And I know that for me, I would always put myself in this mentality. I would say to myself, it's Jordan time. Like that was what I thought in those moments, man. So, as a pass first point guard, I can't say that I tried to emulate the way he played, you know what I'm saying? But it was that tenacity, the way he competed.
His mentality.
Yeah, that mentality. 100%.
Right.
That was always something that I took away from it, man. So yeah, man, I've been a fanatic. It's funny you say that, man. I'm sitting here at my desk. Yeah, I'm a grown man. I'm sitting at my desk. Yo, I got
some figurines.
Yo, I got these Jordan figurines sitting here at my desk, bro. It's been crazy, man. Yeah.
I had to, and I maybe didn't go in enough depth to give the people really the background of, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, Lanny, he wore 23 in high school. He probably wore 23 in middle school. He wore 23 college.
Yeah,
Every time you see Lanny to this day, he's gonna have, especially now, he's gonna have on some J's. Of the 11s, I'm pretty sure the 11s are. I see him a lot in the Breads 11s. Like he's a Jordan fan, diehard fan.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Jordan diehard fan. So I had to get the backdrop on.
Yes, sir.
So was your mom? Was she into sports? Like was she watching hoops at the
house?
house?
Yeah. So my mom hooped. You know what I mean? When she was in school, she hooped. So it's crazy. My father did too. My father grew up in Detroit and he played ball too. But my mom was the one that like introduced me to the game. I still remember as crazy as it was. Obviously her being a single parent, her digging that hole in the front yard and putting that pole up, for my first basketball goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I vividly remember that. So she introduced me to the game. She knows the game. So that was also like kind of the fun part about, my mom was at every single game. She was recording every single game. I got clips from when I was 5-6 years old hooping because my mom had that camcorder at every single one of my games, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that she knew the game was cool too, because you can hear on film, you can hear on the camera, whether I missed a shot or a certain pass or whatever the case may be. She's coaching over there in the stands. So Yeah, man, she put the ball in my hands, and with her having played before, it was cool that she had that experience and had knowledge of the game. So
Yeah, like I said, that's something new, man. I never knew that that moms really taught you the game, right?
yeah,
Not saying that,
yeah,
that's not to say that women, a lot of women know the game and teach
yeah,
their son, especially single, but I never knew that was your case. You never
yeah,
know how people come into learning how to play sports or whatever the case may be. So
yeah,
that's dope
yeah,
that, man, like as good as you were and type of player that you were, you got that from Mom Dukes.
yeah, yeah,
That's dope.
yeah.
That's dope. All right, man. So you have this Jordan, this Jordan. I don't want to say like you idolize Jordan, right?
It was an obsession. It was
Yeah,
obsession for sure.
that's good. Great, thank you. You had this Jordan obsession.
Yeah.
Uh, you get through middle school. Just for my sake, what middle school did you go to?
Man, I finished up. I was at First County Middle School. Is where I
Okay.
finished up, man. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
you
we
went to
came
First
over there
County.
to beat up on McCullough, beat up on Mo City Middle School. You know what I'm saying? I think while I was there was the first time First County ever won a district championship.
Yeah, because
While I was there, man.
definitely what happened when I was in school.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
happened?
yeah. They wasn't doing nothing before then. Yeah, yeah.
All right, so you get to high school, man. You get to high school. Hightower is not the high school you went to was Hightower. Hightower
Yep.
is not open or not built until, am I correct, 1999? No, 2000?
It was 2000. It might have been 2000. It was 2000. Yeah, it was
2000,
2000.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
was the first year. So where did you go before there? Elkins?
Nah, I went when I went to Hightower. It had been open. No, it was 99. It was
99, 2000.
That's right. That's right. Because yeah, I went there all 4 years. So the
So you
class
you
before
2
me.
years younger than you 2 years younger than me when you
Yeah,
graduated?
yeah. I graduated 2003.
So okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
So that explains even more. Why. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
You guys were seniors when I
we was
first played against you. I was a sophomore. You guys were seniors.
that explains. Okay, that explains it even more. All right.
Yeah.
So you get to Hightower High School. It's basically the newer version of my high school at the time.
Yep. Yep.
The newer, cooler. You know what I'm saying? Just because y'all was supposed to have the magnet, whatever the magnet,
the magnet program.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was the newer, cooler school of the district at the time that was predominantly black, all black.
Yep.
All right, so you get there, man. Basically, a mini version of Really Ridge. Not to discredit you guys.
No.
But how did that rivalry of playing out my high school? How was that for you guys?
Man, so Coach Courtney, who you played for at Willow Ridge, it was funny when I was coming out of middle school. I don't think anybody get in trouble for this, but it was a few different high schools that was hitting me up. You know what I'm saying, to go, and Willow Ridge being one, Clements being another one. They got my boy BD Larry Evans. They got him to go there for a second, and then I knew I wasn't going to Elkins, but Greg Wise at Hightower. I've known Coach Wise since I was 9 years old, and so so the deciding factor for me, that was a big factor, but also like I saw the best point guard I ever seen in TJ Ford. I knew he was there, and I was like, you know what, I want to play against that. You know what I'm saying? And went to Hightower, brand new school. And to be honest, we didn't see anybody else but you guys. You know what I'm saying? As far as in the district, there was nobody else that really had our respect in that way. We was the new kids on the block. We were talented, but we saw the legendary things that you guys were doing. And I know for me personally, as a guard, watching you, watching TJ, watching Kenny, that was all motivation for me, man. Like, especially not even just in our district. You got to understand, like, what you guys were doing on the AAU circuit. And a lot of people outside may not understand, but like Texas has always been seen as a football state. You know what I mean? And so
talk about it. Talk about it.
Man, so when we playing on these elite teams, the Houston Superstars, the Houston Hoops, and we playing in these national tournaments, we playing all across the country. Initially, people wasn't giving us the respect that we deserved, and then we definitely earned that after the fact, after they played us. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, being invited to the ABCD All-American camp and walking in there and seeing TJ's name as one of the MVPs, like, I'm like, man, I'm from Mo City. I'm from Texas. I'm at a national camp where it's the best of the best across the country. LeBron's over there. You know what I'm saying? These different Sebastian Telfair, all these guys out of here, and I'm seeing a guy that's from where I'm from. You know, up on the banners. You know what I'm saying? And that was big to me, man. And so being a guard, I looked up to you guys, and you guys were the measuring stick that we tried to measure ourselves up against. So, man, I'll never forget just even going into them games. I'm High Tower Willow Ridge games, man. You know the hype that was around it, man. Everybody in Mo City was there. Man, I couldn't sit still in class all day. I was, cause I got in trouble on game. The first time we played, I got in trouble on game day. I took a ball and I was like dribbling in the hallway. Like I was ready, man. And I remember Coach Wise like, man, what's wrong with you, man? What you think you was gonna get away with dribbling the basketball in the hallway? And I was like, Coach, I'm hyped, man. And I remember him laughing, man. But man, there was a respect, and then it was also like a mentality, like, man, we got to go in here and try to take down the best. This is the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? And so the type of competition and the talent level that you guys had, you know, man, the energy in that building, Wheeler Fieldhouse, High Tower versus Willow Ridge was –
You can't explain it. It was epic.
Bruh.
We can't explain it. People would have to see it because they wouldn't believe it if we tried. You know, we wouldn't do it justice trying to use words to explain that.
Man, I got some. My mom obviously was at that game and recording, so I got some footage, man. I'll send you, bro. But to this day, just thinking about, you know, our rival crowds and how they was bannering back and forth, and man, it was dope. Those were some of the most memorable games that I played in, just because of that energy. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we didn't finish the job, man. This is one of my biggest regrets to this day. We went to state back-to-back my junior and senior year, right after y'all finished going to state back-to-back and winning state. And so there was a lot of pride in us feeling like we were picking up that torch that y'all left. It was a lot of pride for us to feel like we picked that up and carried that on as being, you know, the school from our district, from Missouri City, to represent the state on that level, man. So yeah, man, you guys were a big inspiration for us, man. And those were some of the most intense games that I've played in. So
yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, bro. So considering, like you said, I didn't even know you was 2 years younger. So that's why, like I said, I had a very good friend that went to high school with you that you know, like G, in Cleveland, and he would tell me just randomly, like, man, like, Lanny Smith, man. Lanny just as good as TJ. You know, I'm like, bro, what are you talking? Who is Lanny, right? Who is mind you 2 years younger than me? So really not paying attention to no sophomore. I'm like, what? Lanny? I'm like, man, you don't get he just as good TJ, and he got a jump shot, and he got that's all he used to say that over and over. Man. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to hear that, bro. Everybody know Lanny, right?
Yeah.
It's just funny to tell you that, like, knowing you now and knowing where you was able to accomplish.
Yeah.
He saw it. Like you said, I didn't say I'm a competitor. I'm not. I didn't see it because it was too close for me at the time.
No doubt.
And like I said, and the fact that you was 2 years younger, I didn't see that. You know, I didn't see your junior season, which probably where you was probably more dangerous. You know, the next 2 years.
Oh yeah.
But how did those games prepare you guys for your next 2 years?
Yeah, man. It's funny you say that because I know you guys had a target on your back, right? When you're the best, when you rank number one, you're gonna get everybody's best game. And so the way that we got up to play you guys graduate and you guys leave, and now everybody's getting up to try to play us that way. You know what I'm saying? And so I think we recognize knowing the type of intensity that we had to come with every single game, regardless of who we was playing, because we knew we were going to get their best game. You know what I mean? And so, in a way, we tried to emulate what you guys did as far as dominating from the beginning. You know what I mean? When you guys played, you weren't going to let anybody even think that they had a chance. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was going to dominate from the, not even from the start of the game, from the layup line, from the layup line. You know what I'm saying? You hit them windmills. You know what I'm saying? On the other end of the court, man, it was teams. I remember going to games and teams were defeated before the ball even went up, just because they turn around and they seeing what y'all doing in the layup line, you know, with the dunks. And so I think that's something that we carried on after the fact. The intensity, the way we played, the way we wanted to dominate from the opening tip throughout the entire game, the way we didn't let up. There was no mercy at all during the game. That's definitely something that I think we took from y'all, man. And especially my backcourt mate, I think you may have played either with him or against him overseas, Michael Ume. It's funny saying this to y'all now, but it's like we looked at ourselves as the next TJ and Daniel. You know what I'm saying? That was that's the way that we looked at ourselves. And so, like, even going into our senior year, we knew it was on our shoulders to lead the team every game. We had to set the tone. In practice, we made sure we was the ones working the hardest so that there was nobody else on the team that could have any excuses. Because if Lanny and Mike was the first ones on every sprint, if Lanny and Mike is rotating on defense every time, then nobody else has an excuse. You know what I'm saying? So
nobody else could say anything.
Man. So yeah, that we kind of, that in our minds, we took on that role. We was like, all right, well, they gone. We the new, TJ and Daniel. So yeah, there was definitely an imprint that was left by you guys for sure.
And man, like you said, like, it's good to hear other people and other players speak on that, right? Because I don't think people really understand, and you talked about it briefly, but I don't think people really understand what we did, not just me and TJ individually, but what our team did, more so a high school team, for the state of Texas basketball.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we put a major spotlight on basketball in Texas.
Yeah.
And if you really know the history and kind of go back and look how things transpired after we did what we did, it was just a snowball effect of, like, just opening up, the floodgates to the nation. Like, oh yeah, we got to go to Texas.
Exactly.
We got to go to Texas to see this talent.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the thing, I alluded to earlier, having that football state tag. A lot of people just kind of overlooked us from a basketball standpoint, and the way that you guys put Texas basketball on the map. You're right. You think about all the talent before I get to the whole state of Texas, just from our area, you talking about all the guys that was going to Division I colleges after that. You talking about the guys who were ranked nationally after that. It definitely opened the floodgates. It opened up people's eyes to the type of talent that we had. And, I used to argue people up and down, man. We'd be at ABCD or be at Big Time in Vegas, whatever it is. And I was like, yo, y'all just don't understand, like, especially them East Coast guards, right? I was like, the type of hype machine that you guys have behind you because you're from New York, I've said this exactly. I remember we was arguing with Sebastian Telfair and who was the boy that was with him? I can't remember who was with him. We was on the bus, and me and Mike arguing back and forth with them. And I was like, bro, if TJ Ford was from Brooklyn, New York,
oh man,
bro, you talking, come on, man, you talking, all the point guard stuff and Sebastian being the best point guard ever, and I was like, bro, nobody would even be looking at you if TJ Ford was from Brooklyn, New York. Like, the type of things that you guys were doing, it's funny, man, because different eras and how different things have changed. If you guys were playing in the social media era that is right now, come on, man.
Stars.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Hey, Lanny, we'll be rock stars.
And the thing is that people don't understand is, you're not talking about an Oak Hill Academy or
Right.
a Sierra
Talking
Canyon.
about a public school where
Bruh,
guys
talking
actually grew
about
up
dudes
in
from
the
the
area.
neighborhood.
Yeah, grew up
Come
in the
on, man.
area and just went to their public high school.
Come on, man. Like people,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't know, man. They don't know.
Yeah, man. I like you said, man, it's good to hear other people acknowledge that and understand the impact that we had. Like I
Yep.
said, unfortunately, we didn't come up in that era, so a lot of that and we got a lot of attention despite, not being from Chicago
Yep.
or New York, you know what I'm saying, one of the big media cities. But just
Yep.
we had the platforms that these kids have now. Oh my goodness. Like,
Man.
yeah, like I said, man, we would really be rock stars. Like it would be ugly. It would be
Real
ugly. It
Real
would be
ugly.
ugly. It would be ugly. So, all right, man. So, like I said, that's always dope to hear other people, man, kind of give you your flowers and praise you,
No
because
doubt.
it's different coming from, it's different. It's always better and different coming from other people, man. So I appreciate it. All my teammates, I know that, they appreciate the fact that we was a huge impact for, for you and your teammates and the
Yeah.
city and the state. So that's
Yeah,
always that's always love, man.
man. Shout out to Tree, man, and Dre, man, and
Hey,
Kitty and
hey,
all the boys, man.
man, my boy Tree gonna love to hear that. I'm gonna tell you, hey, Tree gonna go crazy to hear that.
Hold up, man.
So okay, man. So Lanny Smith, you become this. We gotta talk about this real quick. So
Yeah.
TJ Ford leaves high school. He's a McDonald's All-American. All this stuff, right? You up next in the city of Houston.
Yeah.
What was the comparisons? Was there comparisons about Lanny and TJ Ford?
Man, I heard them. There was definitely talk, but the cool thing about kind of what you guys did and the doors that you opened was it wasn't even just is Lanny the next TJ. Then it was, oh, you got Lanny, you got Tack Minor, you got Daniel Gibson, you got these, you know what I'm saying? It was like you had this new movement of these guards who were nationally ranked, who could play with the best of the best, you know what I'm saying? And so it was a dope time from a competition standpoint, because after you guys left, then it was like, okay, who's gonna take that spot? Who's gonna be that top guy? And so you had guys like myself and Tack and D Gibb all battling, you know what I mean, and within the city. So there was just a lot of energy within the city, you know what I mean, about who's gonna be that next top point guard, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, man, I took a lot of pride in that, man. I to be Houston Player of the Year, ahead of some, Kendrick Perkins, Indy Evie, they go to the league straight out of high school, you know what I'm saying? But I won the Player of the Year,
So
you know what I'm saying?
let's give the people, put this in perspective, right?
Yeah.
So you just named 3 pros, and 2 of them one of them they really might not really know, but Indy Evie did go to straight to the league out of high school from Houston, Texas, Westbury Christian. Kendrick Perkins from Beaumont, down the street basically. Daniel Gibson. So are y'all all the same class? Are you?
D was behind me. D is a year behind me, but the rest of us were all in the same class. Me, Tack Minor, Indy, Kendrick. Yeah, we're all in the same class. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that just goes to show, going back to what you were just talking about, the talent just amongst the greater Houston area. You know what I'm saying? In the city, in the greater Houston area, like you said, 2 guys in your class went straight out of high school to the pros. Right?
And then you Cartier Martin, he ends up making the league. That's my class. You know,
right.
Yeah, man. Tack Minor, Jordan All-American. You know what I'm saying? Like you talking. Yeah,
Tack was tough as a freshman. Mind you, we almost lost to Booker T.
Yeah, Booker T. Yeah.
And Tack was getting work in, bro.
Yeah.
Tack was tough as a freshman. So I can just imagine how much more aggressive he was as he got older and became a senior.
Yeah.
All right, so you said Player of the Year in the city or Player of the Year in the state?
Both.
Whoa, okay. Newsflash for myself. All right, so you big time. Lanny Smith is big time. You a big time player. You what they consider a big time player.
Yeah.
Your recruitment. Who was your top schools? That's what I really want to know.
Yep.
What made you stay home and go to U of H?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, initially, when you start getting the letters from, ACC, Big 12, Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever it was back then, Conference USA, man, initially, man, I didn't know what to think, man. It was overwhelming at first to start getting recruited in that way. But early on in my recruitment, my mother had a breast cancer scare. So for me, one, my dream was always to go to North Carolina.
Okay, so that was your dream school. So
that was my dream school.
Did they recruit you? Were you getting recruited by them?
Man, I got a couple of letters, but it never
nothing serious. Okay,
it never nothing serious. So, and matter of fact, funny story about that. What was the tournament right after ABCD camp? I can't remember what it was, but
Pump and Run.
Maybe that's what it was.
No, you said after ABCD.
ABCD, yeah, it was something in. I can't remember what it was. It was something in New York, but we was playing Raymond Felton and man, I'm losing the head coach's name at the time. Hair full of white hair, Doherty. At North Carolina. Yeah. Doherty. He's sitting front row, and I was like, "Oh, I'm about to act up." Oh, and I think I had like 28 and 12 or something like that on Raymond Felton. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that he's going to North Carolina, and I'm thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna hear from him now." You know what I'm saying? They gotta mess with me, man. But I never got anything that was serious from them. You know what I'm saying? So. But then once my mother had the breast cancer scare, in my mind, I knew I wasn't going far from home. So my attention really turned to trying to follow in TJ's footsteps at UT, to be honest. You know what I'm saying?
I was just about to say, I was about to say, so when you said you didn't have intentions on going far, I was like, well, that limits you, because I was like, well, I know you wasn't thinking about going to Texas, but you said that you actually were.
Yeah. And so I actually, I remember UT had a top 25 camp one summer, and obviously, a lot of those guys that I named, myself, Daniel Gibson, Kendrick, Indy, Blake Adams, Cartier Martin, we all there. And, TJ showing me love, being, Mo City guy, you know what I'm saying, coming and showing me around the campus and talking with me and stuff like that, and seeing what he was able to do there. That was actually something that I was like, you know what, I want to follow up what he's doing here. And as the recruiting process went on, Coach Harrelson at the University of Houston, man, he sold me on this idea of being to U of H what TJ was at UT. And, understanding the history of the University of Houston and what it was when the top talent in Houston was staying home and going to University of Houston, that intrigued me to be one of those building blocks to try to get some of the top talent to stay. You know what I'm saying? Right. Obviously, U of H hadn't won anything in a long time, but that intrigued me, man. And Clyde Drexler actually was he's the one who awarded me my Houston Player of the Year award. And, we had some conversations, about that same thing. Coach Michael Young, I knew him since I was in high school. These are guys who played with the Phi Slama Jama, and they were Houston guys who stayed home and were able to go to 3 straight Final Fours, you know what I mean, and have the University of Houston on a national scale. And so for me, I looked at that as a challenge that I wanted to take on, you know what I mean? And to be honest, there were times we had conversations like, man, what if guys like TJ and Daniel and Lawrence Roberts and Emeka Okafor, what if all those guys went to U of H and was like the Fab Five, like what Jalen and them did at Michigan? If those guys had stayed home, there's no – that type of talent at U of H instantly put U of H in a position where they compete with anybody in the country. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, I remember after signing, so many people called me and was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I felt the same way when TJ, because like I said, TJ my guy, bro. We went to high
Yeah.
school. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my boy.
Yeah.
And when he went to Texas, like the times back then was kind of different. Like we both had our own little different recruiting process.
Yeah.
So, you know, I kind of knew what I thought was his major schools. But when he announced that Texas was his favorite, like I was like, man, what you tripping, bro? Like, what are you talking about? Texas? University of Texas? Like, man, you tripping, bro.
Yeah.
So I get it, man. Like,
yeah.
But a person once told me, man, everybody can see, but not everybody has vision. You know what I'm saying? So you guys had a different vision for what you was trying to accomplish. And at the time, because those schools wasn't popular or known for, you know, basketball, a basketball school, people couldn't understand that vision that you guys had.
Yeah, man. And so, man, a lot of people, you know, questioned it in the beginning. But I could say that, one, being close to home, my mom, who was at every single one of my games growing up, being able to be at every single one of my home games at University of Houston, that was something that was big to me. You know what I'm saying? And there was a different sense of pride putting on that jersey with Houston across the chest. You know what I'm saying? Especially like we talked about, being a kid from Houston, playing in these different national tournaments, and always like having that extra sense of pride that we got to rep where we from, because they wasn't giving us the respect that we felt like we deserved. And so playing at the University of Houston, there was a different sense of pride putting on that jersey, and it literally says Houston across the chest. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, driving down 59 and 45 and 610 and seeing billboards with, you know, seeing me on billboards in my own city. You know what I'm saying? That was special for me, to be that hometown kid that stayed. And the way the city showed me love, man, I'm forever indebted to the city of Houston, the way they showed me love, the way they did, you know. And so to go there, you know, during my time there, we you know, got back to the top 25 for the first time since, you know, it had been maybe 15, 20 years since U of H had been in the top 25. You know what I mean? So to be a part of that, we didn't get it back to where I felt like it should have been, or what my goal was, but to at least be able to make some noise on a national level, when the program had been dormant for so long, that was special to me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, to this day, the alumni of the city, you know, they show me so much love. You know what I mean? I think part of that was because, you know, I chose to stay the way I did, man. So even, man, it's funny. Coach Sampson's the head coach there now, and he was recruiting me. He was at Oklahoma when I was coming to high school, and I remember him coming to Hightower, sitting down talking with me and Coach Wise, and he had two All-Americans at the time, Hollis Price and Quantus White. You know, they went to the Final Four, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm looking to recruit you to replace these guys." You know what I'm saying? And I remember turning him down, and he kind of was like, "Yo, what's wrong with is this guy serious?" You know what I'm saying? And so when he got hired at the University of Houston, I remember I was there at the press conference, and I went and congratulated him, and he was like, "I still can't believe you turned me down." So, but it's been a dope experience, man, and the impact that I was able to leave there is something that, you know, I'll always be proud of. So,
man, so to go back a little bit about how you was like, man, you was kind of thinking about how dope it would have been had some top talent Houston guys stayed in Houston. And me and TJ have had this conversation numerous of times.
Yeah.
Because for me, Houston was never an option for me.
Yeah.
Staying in Texas, period, was never an option for me. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So TJ, like I said, he ended up going to Texas. So he was like, man, I was really intrigued by U of H. Clyde Drexler was a coach. Like he was kind of like he was kind of taking the bait, right? And he was like, bro, he's like, just think. Because he was like, I didn't know this, but he's like, Rashard Lewis was supposed to go to U of H.
Yep.
And he said, he was telling me, like, just telling me his side. He's like, if Rashard goes to U of H, that changes everything for everybody in Houston, which it probably does, right?
Yep.
Which it probably does. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still not going to U of H though. Like, you're not
Yeah.
selling me on that, right? But
Yeah.
if Rashard goes to U of H, it does change. It's a
It makes you think about it.
It's a domino effect, but that's a
Yeah.
positive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Rashard goes, and then the following year you have Alton Ford,
Yep.
and also you had George Williams.
George
right?
Williams.
Who was
Yep.
like George was a monster at Elkins, right?
Monster.
So
Yep.
then you got after that, you got guys like TJ, possibly Phil Williams.
Yep.
Like you said,
Yep.
like Lawrence Robb. You got all America. Like who knows how that affects, how that changes what U of H become if Rashard doesn't go to the NBA and chooses U of H.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a great one of them great like what ifs. Like what if,
Sure.
man.
For sure.
But before we transition from that, why do you think the university and stuff has changed now since Kevin Sampson's there? The program is on a great rise.
Yep.
But why do you think, just from the past, that the University of Houston can't keep its better talent? Can't even they can't really even entertain the better talent to come out of the city.
Yeah, I think that there was an effect that happened once Guy V. Lewis retired. Not being able to keep that momentum going, and in the way things kind of just went into the dumps, I think, and then the lack of investment into the athletic programs for a decade really hurt the University of Houston from a standpoint of not having the facilities that even could compete with some of these other schools. So then when these recruits even come and look at the facility, they're like, man, I just got off this visit at UT or at OU, and man, you know what I mean? So I think that was part of it. And for that, give a lot of credit to President Couture, hopefully I'm saying her name right, at the University of Houston, because when she came in, she's big on academics, but she understood the importance of athletics to a university and how it can, one, increase enrollment, but just the overall morale of a university when the athletic programs are doing well. So they started cutting the checks. They started investing in the football program, building a new stadium for the football program, building a new arena for the basketball program, a new practice facility. And I don't think it's a coincidence that both of those programs have started to rise as the investing into those programs has increased. You know what I mean? And so you invest in a coach like Kelvin Sampson and give him an opportunity to build a program. But I think just before that, there wasn't that commitment to the athletic program that there is now from, previous administrations. And I think that was a big part of it. You know what I mean? And then, I think there was some politics as well coming out of that Phi Slama Jama era. So you're talking about, during that era, U of H beat up on everybody else in the vicinity. You talking about they beat up on UT, they beat up on OU, they beat up on everybody in the vicinity. So then when it came time for those conference realignments, because everybody was in the Southwest Conference at that time.
Right.
When that conference when they start to do those conference realignments and you have the Big 12 form and they leave University of Houston out, you think about, you got Baylor, you got every Division I school that's in Texas in the Big 12.
I still don't understand why U of H is not in the Big 12.
Bro, I mean, there was politics behind that. So when you're talking about the money that UT has, the money that OU has, and the influence that they have on the formation of that conference, you think about the amount of talent that comes out of just the city of Houston, right? So if I'm OU and I'm UT and I'm recruiting a bunch of players out of Houston, one of the biggest recruiting advantages we can have is the fact that, well, hey, Houston's not in this type of conference, so why would you stay home when you can play in the Big 12 and be on TV and have these types of budgets? You know what I'm saying? So I think it was strategic that the University of Houston was left out of the Big 12, and I think that was part of the decline in why we were unable to continue the momentum that was started with the Phi Slama Jama. You know what I mean? And so It was a long road, but now you're talking about coming off of 2 Sweet 16 appearances. One of them, buzzer beater, prevents them from going to Elite Eight. You know what I mean? They were on their way this year, ranked again. Obviously, the tournament had to be canceled because of, you know, what's happening with COVID and everything like that. But you got the Jordan deal, which, you know what I mean? Like, look, a guy like me, yo, that's that's easy. That's an easy decision. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? So it's starting to look cool again to play at the University of Houston, and I think that that's something that I don't think it's just a flash in the pan. I think they're building a program that's going to have sustained excellence, sustained success, man. And so I'm happy to see that, man.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. Like I said, Coach Sampson recruited me also, man. You know, of course, him being at Oklahoma for a long time.
Yep.
Being in Texas, he definitely recruiting this area, recruiting the state. So had a relationship with him, you know, prior to him getting the job here. So that is dope for him to be in Houston now, having success, and and the staff he has, like you said, it's guys we grew up playing against, actually guys I grew up looking up to. Holla Hollis, that's what I used to scream is Holla Hollis, like him, man, they used to kill that Oklahoma, man. So just being able to, to interact with those guys when I see them, and they have an open door policy for me to come through and and just look in on practice or whatever, chop it up with them, man. It's dope, man. That like you said, that the resurrection of U of H is on the rise again of becoming a one of the top programs in the country.
Yeah.
So Lanny, bro, so you're at U of H.
Yeah.
Right. You decide to be there solely, a lot of based on because your mom ended up having breast cancer. So you wanted to stay close to home, stay, where you could kind of keep your eyes on mom, but also you bought into a vision that, hey, man, I could be what TJ Ford was to Texas here in my own city.
Yeah.
You have a pretty good freshman year.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You carry that over your sophomore year. Your junior year, you're on the NBA radar.
Yep.
You're on the NBA radar. Talk a little bit about the setback and that like you like I'm almost there, right?
Yeah.
Just talk a little bit about what happened and how that kind of changed the trajectory of your initial dream.
Yeah, man, it's funny because a lot of people, when I went to University of Houston, they thought that was going to hinder my chances of getting to the NBA. You know what I mean? With the lack of exposure and TV time, man, I had some games at the University of Houston that if these are nationally televised games, you know what I mean? My name is a little different in college, you know what I'm saying? So when that NBA attention started happening, man, when the scouts are coming to practice, when they come into the games, it was a dope feeling to know that I could stay home, I could stay at the University of Houston, and I could still, get this attention that I've been looking for from the NBA. And so, yeah, man, I'm on the radar. Had to make a decision. We were thinking about leaving early, and man, had to make that decision. Ended up staying, wanting to improve my draft status, and going into the next season, man, the practice before the very first game, I'm in the air finishing a layup, and a teammate accidentally undercuts me, and I land awkwardly in a bone in my foot, just completely snapped in half. And man, I ended up having 3 surgeries on my foot. The first 2, they were trying to put a screw in my foot to fuse the bone back together, and it ended up getting infected. And they didn't realize it at the time. I remember hitting the doctor like, hey, man, something's wrong with my foot. It's throbbing. And they were like, man, that's just the after effects of surgery. You'll be fine. And probably waited another week or so, and my foot started to feel hot to the touch. It was like my foot had a fever, and called them again and let them know. And they had me come in immediately, and had to do that 3rd surgery to clean out the infection, and they basically told me that infection had reached that second part of my foot. They were going to have to amputate that top half of my foot because of that infection, you know what I'm saying? And so they saved my foot, but the doctor's telling me that it's likely that I won't play basketball anymore. You know what I mean? And that was it was devastating. It was devastating. Like I said before, my dream was to play in the NBA since I'm 4 or 5 years old, and to be in a position where it feels like that is getting ready to be the next step for me, and then to hear the doctor tell you that, man, I was crushed, man. I really didn't even know how to accept that. You know what I mean? Be that close to your dream, and then it's gone. Man, I went into depressive state. Man, I started drinking heavy. I was really kind of going left, man. I was going in a direction that wasn't good, that wasn't healthy. You know what I mean? And it was because just that hopelessness of feeling like, man, this dream I've been working for my whole life is gone. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So, like you said, man, your recovery. So you have this injury, man. The doctor's telling you that you possibly not going to ever play again. Had the scare of possibly having your foot amputated.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about the recovery. You just shared a little bit about, you know, how you kind of lost your way, right?
Yeah.
You started drinking, kind of just, you know, kind of lost focus, and which is it's normal, man. Like people don't. I mean, it's normal for individuals who suffer a setback of that magnitude to lose hope, right?
Yeah.
So just talk a little bit about that recovery and getting back on track and putting yourself back in position to continue your dream.
So, you know, I was a member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes when I was in school, and I had a mentor there who's still a friend to me to this day. His name Mikado Henson, and Mikado kind of saw me going left, and he was like, "Yo, I need you to go to lunch with me." And he sat me down, and he basically was like, you know, Jesus doesn't care if you ever play basketball ever again. He still loves you. You know what I mean? And it was weird the way he put it, because it was almost like it shook me out of whatever I was in. You know what I mean? Just the way that he expressed that to me, because at the time, you know, a lot of people that were in my life kind of disappeared. You know what I mean? You got a situation where, you know, a lot of people, you know, you see TJ, boom, boom, boom in the league, Daniel, boom in the league, boom in the league. They're like, oh, Lanny's the next one. You know what I'm saying? And then when that happened, a lot of people who was calling my phone, a lot of people who were around, that phone stopped ringing. You know what I mean? And so to just hear Mikado pour into me and really reaffirm that, you know, how Jesus felt about me, whether I ever picked up another basketball or not, that really meant something to me during that time. And then, you know, I was determined. I didn't want to listen to what the doctors was telling me. They told me that if I tried to play, there was possibility that there would be permanent damage in my foot and blah, 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 whatever. I was like, you know what? I worked too hard for this, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I applied, got a medical red shirt, came back, and was trying to get back into it. Really wasn't where I was before, and ended up obviously didn't get drafted, and got picked up in the NBA Development League. And man, I have so much gratitude for the D League. What's the G League now? You know what I mean? A lot of people that don't know on the outside looking in, you know, they clown and kind of criticize and talk about, you know, the D League guys, you know what I mean? And the D League itself. And I don't think people understand how hard it is to make it to that league. You know what I mean? Like, you talking about there's 400 jobs.
Right.
It's 400 jobs and it's a million guys trying to get there. I played with and against some guys that were so good, and I couldn't believe, like, how are you not in the league? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you not in the league? And people don't understand that numbers game. They don't understand, man, it's a fine line between being in there and not being in there, right?
Right.
And so I have a lot of other people look down on it, but I have the utmost respect and admiration and appreciation for the D League, because it gave me my chance. It gave me my opportunity to get back to my dream. And that's what happened, man. I God bless me, man. I was able to return to being the player that I was prior to injury, and had a great first year in the D League. And man, after that first season, Sacramento Kings called my agent and, wanted to sign me. You know what I mean? And that's, I remember where I was right now at this very moment. I remember where I was when I got that phone call. I was on 59 headed home, and obviously I was on 59, and he called me.
You going 59 South, right?
I'm going 59 South, man, back to the Mo. I just left Fondy, and I was headed back to Mo City, man, and got that call, and I was like, I can't even explain it, man. And so, I remember getting home, sharing the news with my mom. Obviously, she'd been my number one fan my whole life, and she was so happy for me. I remember when I was leaving to go to Sacramento, man, I remember the hug she gave me, man. It was like it was a different hug, man. It was almost a hug like it wasn't even. She knew what I had went through to even get back to that point. You know what I mean? And so, her prayers and everything, her well wishes when I was leaving for Sacramento, man, meant a lot to me. And I remember getting there. I remember signing my contract. I remember, man, walking in the locker room every day and seeing a jersey that had Jerry West logo and Smith on the back. You know what I mean? To see it, to put on a NBA jersey with my name on the back, man, I still can't accurately describe that feeling, man, for two reasons. One, like I said, this is a dream since I was 4 years old. You know what I mean? Like, that, what a blessing. Like, how many people have something that they want to do since they're 4 years old and they actually get to do it? You know what I mean? And then on top of that, the fact that just a year prior, the doctors told me I'd never play basketball again. You know what I mean? And so my mom used to always tell me, it wasn't even necessarily pertaining to this, but my mom used to always tell me, if God has something for you, it's for you, regardless of what anybody else says or does. And in that moment, that became real to me. She'd been telling me this my whole life. It became so real to me. It's like, man, I had this setback. Doctor told me I'd never play again, yet here I am. You know what I mean? And Paul Westphal was the head coach of the Sacramento Kings at the time. And I remember during training camp, he called me out multiple times, in practice, in a good way. You know what I mean? He called me out. They had just drafted Tariq Evans and a couple of the guys that, was already under contract, and he was looking at how lackadaisical they seemed to be taking things. You know what I mean? And he was like, he pointed out how I approached every single workout, every single practice. And I remember him pulling me to the side one day, and he was like, training camp is meant to, test what kind of shape you're in, see where you're at. You're supposed to get tired. He's like, I have not seen you get tired one time out here. And I was like, Coach, you don't understand like my journey. Like, I am not supposed to be here right now. A year ago, the doctor told me I would never play basketball again. So it's times I get tired out there, but I remember not being able to play. I remember my foot swelling up on me so bad that I couldn't even walk. So to have this opportunity, you don't even understand what this means to me. You know what I mean? And so that motivation gave me all the strength, all the whatever that I needed to perform at the highest level when I was there. And man, I remember getting back to my room after practice, man, crying in the shower. Like, literally just crying in the shower, just thanking God, man. I was overwhelmed with emotion nearly every day. Just the fact that I was where I was, man. It was almost like unreal because, like I said, I was in a position where I thought I would never play basketball again. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, so I go from low to this extreme high, and then 33 days after I signed my first NBA contract, guarding Tyreek Evans in the pick and roll, the biggest come set the screen, and two bigs trip over each other, like two big 6'10", 250-pound guys fall into my left knee, tear the articular cartilage in my left knee. I have 2 microfracture surgeries, and just like that, my career is over with.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 33 days after you signed your official NBA contract.
Yep.
Your dream is fulfilled and short-lived in 33 days.
Bruh, crazy part about that, I just finished moving and I was moving a bunch of stuff. I found a copy of my NBA contract the other day, man. I got it right here. I got it on my desk, and I remember looking at it the other day. I was like, man, this is crazy, bro. This is crazy. But yeah, I found my contract, a copy of the contract. But yeah, man.
So all right, so Lanny, man. So you, like you said, you went from this extreme low to this extreme high in a short period of time.
Yep.
In a short period of time. So you at this moment, man, where you're very thankful and grateful for the opportunity. You made it. You've made it.
Yep.
You made, like, you signed, like you was about to be on the team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this wasn't like you signed a contract. You was signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah.
You made it, man. And once again, dream deferred.
Yep.
Would you say, and I'm gonna say deferred, but would you say deferred or denied? Because I've heard you say not all dreams are achieved. Dreams can be deferred, but and dreams can be denied.
Yeah. You know, the way God works, there's a lot of times where you don't understand what's happening in the midst of it happening. But then you look back and you have this understanding of, you know, why he was doing what he was doing.
Right.
You know
that's why I went through that. Right.
And so where I'm sitting right now, I can look back and I can say, okay, I see what he was doing here. I see what he was doing here. And that led me to where he wanted me to be, which is here. But in that moment, it don't feel like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In that moment, if I'm gonna keep it 100, like, I was angry with God. You know what I mean? I couldn't understand it for the life of me. One, I was a guy that felt like I always remained humble. I felt like I never forgot to give God the glory for anything that he allowed me to accomplish. You know what I mean? I got pictures now. When I was in high school, you know, outside of Michael Jordan, the next guy to me was Allen Iverson. You know, all of us, you know what I'm saying? TJ had the braids, you know, I went and grew my hair out. I got the braids. I was trying to be AI. So I you know, I was wearing the sleeve, and on all my sleeves, I was writing Bible verses on the inside of my sleeve. You know what I'm saying? Like and my pregame routine, there was a prayer I said every time before I stepped on that court. You know what I'm saying? And so there was a part of me that felt like, man, God, I never forgot about you. Like, I've seen guys reach certain levels of success and they forget about God. You know what I mean? They forget about who blessed them to be where they're at.
Exactly.
I feel like I always remembered you. Why are you taking this from me? You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't understand it. And then on top of that, I just finished coming from a situation where the game was taken away from me, fight to get back. You allow me to get to this point where I achieved this dream, and then you take it away. It's like, I'm like, no, is this a cruel joke? You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a part of me that was like, man, I would almost rather just not even touch it if it was just going to be taken away from me. You know what I'm saying? And Yeah, it was tough to swallow. And so I remember being angry with God. And go ahead.
Not to cut you off. So at this point, is this where your faith is stretched and grown during this during this period of time in your life? So you crush.
Yep.
I can imagine you crush now. Like
yep.
You've been through a lot already, overcoming this career-threatening foot injury. You fight your way back. You make it to the NBA. You're on the team. You make the team. You have this career-ending knee injury. Is this where your faith really starts to, your walk with Christ really starts to take you to another level?
Man, actually, I would say that transformation really kind of started the first time when I got injured in college, because like I said, it was a lot of people left my life. And I felt like it was just me, my mom, and God at that time. I felt like that's what I had. And so I feel like that was when my relationship really became real. And then when I made it, when I'm there at Sacramento Kings, to me, that was a moment that really strengthened my faith to a whole nother degree. Because like I said, my mom used to always tell me, God got something for you that's there for you regardless of what people. So for me to get there after everything that happened, it strengthened my faith, because I was like, okay, I never stopped believing. I kept on, you know what I mean? And I felt like God rewarded me in that sense. So then when it was taken away like that, I responded a little differently this time. So I'm still faced with, man, what do I do now? Like, basketball's gone. What do I do now? And I was still angry with God, but I also started to search for answers differently, right? So now I'm starting to ask questions like, okay, well, what else is it that you have for me? Because you gave me this incredible talent to play basketball. I felt like my purpose, since I was 4 years old, I felt like my purpose was to play in the NBA. But it's obvious you have something different from me. So what is it that you want me to do? You know what I mean? And I got to the point where I was talking to God just like that. Like,
right.
What is it you want me to do? You know what I mean?
Raw and from the heart.
Man, and so, my contract wasn't guaranteed. I didn't make it past a certain date. I'm back home in Houston, living with my mama, grown man, you know what I'm saying? I'm ashamed to show my face in public, because when I leave my house, you gotta understand, not only did I come up through high school as the player that I was in high school, but then I stayed home through college in Houston. So it's a constant reminder. Every time somebody sees me, they asking, hey, ain't you supposed to be in the league? Hey, ain't you Lanny Smith? Weren't you supposed to be in the league? Hey, you supposed to be in the league, ain't you? Like, why are you home? Why are you not playing?
Right.
Constant reminder, no matter where I go, somebody's recognizing me, asking me about basketball. You know what I mean? And so I felt it kind of breaking my spirit, but man, I got a praying mother, man, and she kept trying to pour into me and make sure I still felt that love regardless of me being in the NBA or not. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, I ended up having 2 surgeries on the knee. And after that second one, I was laid up, and I remember praying this prayer. I said, Lord, your will be done, not mine. If you don't want me to play ball no more, then I'm begging you to show me what you want me to do, and that's what I'll do. And man, literally after that, I said that prayer, it was probably a week or 2 later, man, I had this vision, this idea for active faith, man, that I know God placed that dream in my heart, because, people have asked me before, oh, so you knew you were going to start active faith after you got finished playing basketball? I was like, nah, I never had thought of this ever a day in my life until after this happened. You know what I mean? And so I tell people, God blessed me with a dream bigger than the dream I had for myself. But I had to be active in my faith to trust him and where he was leading me in it. You know what I mean? Because in the moment, I don't, in the moment, I can't see where I'm at right now. I can't see the impact that Active Faith has had right now.
Right.
Bro, it's people in 75 different countries that have bought Active Faith and is wearing Active Faith all over the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't tell me in that moment that was going to be the impact, because I thought my biggest impact on the world was going to be becoming an NBA player. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, and what I said before about looking back and seeing where God navigated these things for me, all of the relationships that I built as a basketball player ended up helping me in some form or fashion to build Active Faith. And so if it wasn't for those relationships that were built, if it wasn't for the journey that I had taken, I wouldn't have had the tools and the relationships and the network necessary to build what I needed to build with Active Faith, man. So, you know, God knew what he was doing, obviously, you know, and he had something different for me. And he had to take away that first dream to give me something bigger, you know, and I just had to trust his vision. You know what I mean?
Man, that's good, man. That's a praise report. And, you know, all on his own, man. Just your testimony, like I said, man, your testimony, and that's really what this is. Your testimony, man, is powerful, and it's, you know, and it's unique in its own right. Like you said, because God had a greater vision for your life than you had for yourself. Which, I mean, the word tells us that, you know, it tells us that in the word, like, you know, I can do exceedingly and abundantly above whatever you can ask or think of.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we quote scriptures and we say things, and sometimes we don't really understand the impact of it or really believe it wholeheartedly until a situation like yourself, like the one you had. Like,
yep.
All right, man, I thought my biggest dream was to be a basketball player, to make it to the NBA. Now here I am, unable to play, you know, career on the line, don't know what else I can do, don't have no clue about what else, you know, what's next for me.
Yep.
And you bless me with this huge vision and dream that's been impactful, like you said, in 75 different countries now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So, man, that's like, so that's congratulations. That's a blessing in itself. So yeah, so let's dive deeper into the Active Faith.
Yeah.
Your Active Faith, the brand and the company.
Yeah.
Your initial goals. So you have this vision, you start creating, you come up with the logo, you have this, you know, you have the slogans. Your initial goals, when stuff really started taking off, what was the initial goals for the brand?
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. A lot of people laughed at me in the beginning when I told them what I was getting ready to do. And you know, I don't fault them for that, because, you know, some people are not going to see the vision that God gave you until, you know, it comes to fruition. Then they see it, you know what I mean? Right. And so when he gave me the vision, it was a big vision. It was one that I knew I was going to have to depend on him in order for that vision to come true, because, man, I never had a job other than playing basketball. You know what I mean? Like, I never had a job other than playing basketball. And so now, and so here's the thing though, as sure as I was that I was going to play in the NBA, like if you asked me at 5, at 7, at 15, at 18, you asked me at any of those ages what I was going to do, I'm going to be an NBA player. Like it wasn't even a question to me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah,
that's right, how sure of it that I was. That same conviction I felt about Active Faith, and I knew it was a God thing, because I didn't know where else that would come from. I knew for sure this is what I'm supposed to do now, and there was no question about it. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew this is what I was supposed to do. And so it's funny you mentioned the tagline. So the tagline for Active Faith is, "In Jesus' name I play." And that came about from a mistake I made. So, man, this how much I knew nothing. I Googled, how do you come up with a company name? Like, this is stuff I'm looking at. I ain't even know how to come up with a company name. You know what I'm saying?
You Google that now, though. That was some years ago. You Google that now, all type of stuff will come up.
Oh, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, people walk you straight through it now. You know what I'm saying? Right. Back then, it was like, and so the article I read, it suggested, like, to come up with these lists of words that would describe what your company, your brand's going to do. And I had 2 columns of words, and active and faith just happened to be next to each other. And I was like, okay, man, that works. You know what I'm saying? You have the double entendre of this being an active wear brand. So obviously being physically active, but being active in your faith and what that means. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, that's perfect. And then I was like, okay, Nike's got Just Do It. Under Armour's got Must Protect This House at the time. And I'm like, okay, what's going to be our tagline? And part of my pregame ritual before every game, I prayed, and in my prayers, in Jesus' name I pray, amen. And one game I slipped up and I said, in Jesus' name I play, amen. And I didn't even think too much of it at the time. I kind of laughed at myself. That was that, you know what I'm saying? Fast forward all these years later, and I'm trying to think of a tagline for this company. And that memory just came back to me just all at once. And I remember writing it down, in Jesus' name I play. And I got chill bumps. I was like, oh, this is it. You know what I'm saying? And so all along this journey, man, God has just revealed different things and opened these different doors and given me certain ideas and certain creativities for certain things that I didn't even know I had. So honestly, man, the vision was this. I grew up wearing Nike and Jordan and Adidas and these different brands. And I recognized that as great as those brands are, there was nothing that they put on their apparel. There was nothing that they released that also spoke to the man of faith that I was and how much my faith meant to me. And over the course of my career, I met so many different athletes that all of us had this foundation of faith. That was something that was still a part of our lives. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to create the next Nike, but it's going to be something that's faith-based in its messaging and its design. And, man, like I said, a lot of people laughed in the beginning. They didn't understand, what does that mean to Christian sports apparel? What does that even mean? It didn't exist. And, but I saw it clear as day. And, man, we launched this thing out of my mama's garage, man, out of her garage. And to see it go from that to where it is today is just another testament to, you know, how God has opened these doors and how he'll lead you and direct you on these paths. Even if you don't know how you're supposed to get there, he'll lead you there, man, and continue opening those doors for you, man.
Right. So now, man, Active Faith is, I mean, I don't know the exact number, but can we say Active Faith is a multi-million-dollar brand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Active Faith is a multi-million-dollar brand. You've actually relocated. You know, you and your family to Los Angeles, a bigger market.
Yep.
You, like you said, you're growing. You're doing more and better and better things as the company continues to grow. Can you talk a little bit about just like the initial stages? Like you said, some people laughed at your beginning. The initial stages of getting rejected and in that process.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that, man, because a lot of people will see your wins, they'll see the success, and they don't understand what all goes into it. They don't understand the amount of losses that you take to get to those wins. You know what I mean? Man, in the beginning, you know, it took me 8 or 9 months just sourcing material, trying to find the right manufacturer. You know what I mean? Like this wasn't no overnight thing. Like it took that long just to find the right materials and the right manufacturer before I even released a product. You know what I'm saying? And in the beginning, man, I thought we was going to be in Foot Locker and Foot Action, you know what I'm saying? Champs. And I'm getting these meetings and they're like, you know, they like the quality, they like the look. They're like, you got this Jesus stuff on here, man. We're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was an automatic no once they see the scripture and the Jesus stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so all those doors closed. Then at the time, there was these 2 big Christian retailers. One was Lifeway Christian and the other was Family Christian. Both of them had 300, 400 stores nationwide. And I was like, oh, we in that easy. Like, it's a Christian retail store. No, they're going to pick us up. Man, them people, them people rejected me so many times. It was unreal, bro. They just like first it was just flat out no. I had one of them tell me flat out, they was like, this idea will never work. Like they literally told me that to my face, like this idea will
Wow.
never work. They were like, what is Christian sports apparel? We never heard of that before. Like that ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? And I was begging them. Like I was like, yo, y'all don't understand. Like this the next wave. Like just give me a chance. Just put me in one store so I can show you what we can do. And it was flat out no, begging them. And so rejected by all your mainstream stores, rejected by all the Christian stores. And so now I'm like, all right, God, you gave me this vision and you know what I'm saying? Like what like what am I supposed to do with this? And the crazy part about it is all that rejection, it led me to thinking, okay, well, if I can't get in these physical stores, then we got to be online. And man, I went to YouTube University, man, taught myself, how to code and do everything I need to do to build our first website, and got the brand online. And it was an e-commerce brand. And the crazy thing is, if you look at what's happened over the last 10 years, everything has moved e-commerce. Everything has moved online. And so it was a blessing. All that rejection was a blessing because it put me ahead of the game to get into the e-commerce, you know what I'm saying? And that's where everything has exploded, you know what I mean? And so, man, it's just, like I said, just another instance of looking back and not understanding why I was being rejected. And now I look back and I was like, thank you, God, for that rejection, because it led me to being in the place where I needed to be for this to actually, be a success. So, man, it was, I can go on and on about all the different no's that we've gotten, all the different rejections, and being able to bounce back from that and keep fighting and keep working and keep grinding so that you can get to the next W. It's been rewarding.
So, okay. So for the people who really don't know you or know the brand, know much about it, can you talk a little bit about your connection with guys like Stephen Curry, who
Yeah.
has is Stephen a part? Like, does he have partner? Does he
Yeah,
have?
he got some ownership in the brand, man. Yeah, so he's a partner with me in Active Faith, man. So when I talk about the journey and how God allowed me to get to certain levels with basketball and how that's helped me with this, you know, the access that I've been able to have to a lot of different NBA players. If somebody off the street had this idea to create this brand and wanted to try to talk to these guys about it and get to them, they're going to get shut down immediately. You know what I mean? The fact that I was a player gave me instant credibility with other players. You know what I mean? And so having those relationships with guys that I played with and played against, it gave me that access that I probably wouldn't have had if I hadn't have made it where I made it with basketball. You know what I mean? And so how Steph became a part of this, actually another crazy story, you know, that's a God thing. So the year that I was in the D League, one of my teammates, his name was Anthony Tolliver. When I ended up signing with Sacramento, Anthony got called up and signed to Golden State, which was this was Steph's rookie year. So fast forward, I get hurt, and Anthony was somebody that even when we were in the D League, like we were doing Bible studies together and we just connected on that level, you know what I'm saying? And so he was calling me, just checking up on me, man, seeing how I was doing. And I told him, I was like, man, I got this idea for this brand. It's a Christian sports apparel brand. And he was like, bro, I want to be a part of that. You know, when you're ready to get this thing off the ground, I want to be a part of that. So just so happened, him and Steph became very close. Steph's rookie year, they were Golden State Warriors, and he just happened to tell Steph about the idea. Now, Steph being another guy whose faith is very important to him, and it's something that he carries with him, you know, on and off the court. When he heard about the concept, he was like, yo, I got to be a part of that. Anthony put us on three-way, and we had a great conversation. ended up meeting right after that. And so this is Steph's sophomore year, his second year in the league. You know, he invested in Active Faith, put in some seed money, and man, we lifted off, you know what I mean? And so, you know, a lot of people have asked about, you know, and then our relationship just has grown closer and closer over the years. You know, a lot of people have asked about that relationship with Steph. And, you know, a lot of people, they forget now that, you know, the injuries that Steph had early on in his career almost derailed his career completely. And
Right.
so we had this connection about those injuries and how we responded to them. And, you know, I remember praying with Steph, you know what I mean, through some of them ankle injuries and him having them questions and them doubts about whether he was going to be able to play again or not. You know what I mean? I had felt those fears before, you know what I mean? So I think he appreciated the fact that before the MVPs, before the championships, before all that, you know, when people were writing him off, I remember being on social media during that time and people clowning him because of his ankles and people, you know, I remember all that as clear as day. And he was down with us and we were down with him during those times. You know what I mean? So people see how it's become during times where Active Faith has become to the level that it has. Steph has obviously ascended to the superstar status that he's in. But this started long time ago before anybody thought that Active Faith or Steph Curry was going to be what we have become. So, man, it's been dope to see it grow, man. We've got, man, it's I've lost count now, but it's well over 80 guys across NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball that have been wearing Active Faith organically. Like, we're not paying them to wear it. We're not asking for no sponsorships or anything like that. These are just guys who their faith is important to them, and they've seen it on a teammate or they've seen somebody else wearing it, and they've reached out. Or we have agents call us all the time. They're like, man, my client is a Christian athlete and he loves Active Faith. Would you mind, you know, sending some gear or whatever the case may be? We've had some where their wives or their mothers or somebody in their family has just gifted them with it. You know what I mean? So to see it grow the way it has, man, it's been special. Because, I mean, you got to think about it. Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Jordan, these are brands that pay these guys millions of dollars to wear their stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so the fact that they're wearing Active Faith for free because it's something that organically they really rock with, man, is really special.
No, that's definitely dope, man. Like I said, I've seen since I've learned about, you know, since you introduced me to what you've been doing and the initial line that you had, you know what I'm saying? And I appreciate all the gear you blessed me with over the years, but just to see it grow. And like you said, seeing it now, like, of course, like I said, I've been knowing Steph, been down with it for a while. And AT, shout out to both of those guys, Steph and Anthony Tolliver. But like more recently, Altuve, and you know, like that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Altuve being a different ethnicity, being from a different country, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the beauty of, you know, of the struggle that people don't see. Then they see the fruits of the labor, but they don't see the, you know, they don't see the ugliness in the success story. So, man, I shout out to Active Faith, your wife Kirby, man, all that y'all doing, man. I really admire, man, and I'm happy for you guys.
Appreciate that, man.
So, man, before we wrap up, man, so you have this platform now with Active Faith. It's grown tremendously. Like you said, you have a lot of different athletes, a lot of people just in general, just organically loving what you guys do, loving the product, want to represent for the kingdom of God, right? While they're doing their active activities or just while they just rocking whatever they rocking, going about their day. So you have this platform now, man, and you're using it to voice your opinion and to voice your concerns about different issues. More recently, the social injustice, racial prejudice, George Floyd situation. Like I said, you and the company has helped out with providing masks for the pandemic. Just talk a little bit about how maybe your responsibility that you feel being the founder and CEO of this Christian apparel brand. How you feel like you have to maybe you feel like that's your responsibility to speak on such circumstances.
Yeah, man. one of the things that I respect is guys who don't allow them reaching a certain level or having a certain platform to silence them. You know what I mean? A lot of times you start to worry about, okay, what are people going to think? How will this affect me? You know what I mean? If I speak and use my voice. And I know that there is a responsibility in having a platform. You know what I mean? And God has blessed me with this platform, and I wouldn't feel like I was doing this blessing it's just due if I remain quiet about, whether it's the injustice that is going on or anything like that. And as a Black man who has experienced racism in this country, you know, I think that being able to articulate what we've been through, being able to shine a light on some things that are often hidden, or they try to hide it. People who follow me on my social media, they'll know that the things I'm talking about, I didn't just start talking about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like, I've been talking about this for years. I've always used my platform to speak out on these things because it's important. I feel a big responsibility to educate people who may not know what's going on or why things are happening the way they're happening. And it's been powerful to see the response from Black and white. I've had white people hit me up like, man, I didn't know some of these things that you're posting about. I didn't know that this was happening, or I didn't know that, this is how you felt about these things. You know what I mean? And so to be able to impact people where they can then take this knowledge that they know of now and then go share that with their family and their friends. I may not be able to change the world, but I can change, my circle of influence, you know what I mean? And maybe that can change some other people's lives and things like that, you know what I mean? But then also, like, I feel very strongly about being a role model to other young Black, especially Black men, but Black kids in general, but especially Black men, right? Because as much as we talk about, that dream of making it to the NBA and everything like that, I also feel like there's a big negative to that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us grow up thinking that's our only way out, or our only way to achieving success is to play in the NBA, to play in the NFL, to be a rapper. We look at sports and entertainment as these only avenues of achieving success or being able to help out our families. And that can be a trap because, as we mentioned before, it's 400 jobs in the NBA. You know what I mean? It's 400 jobs in the NBA. It's more than 400 people that went to our high school. You know what I'm saying? So if you just think about the numbers and the chances of that happening, a lot of us put all of our eggs in that one basket. And then if that don't work out, all them eggs are broken. You know what I mean? And then you have so many of us lost and not knowing what else productive we can do in society, what else we can do to provide for our families. You know what I mean? And so I want to encourage our youth. You ain't got to be an athlete. You don't have to be an entertainer. You don't have to play in the NBA. Not one that you don't have to do that, and you can still be successful. You can be an entrepreneur. You can be a business owner. You can be a doctor, a lawyer. You can be the world is open. You can be anything that you want to be. But the images that we often see of, especially successful Black men, are only in sports. You only see the NBA, NFL players, and the entertainers as the successful ones. So I think it's important for guys like myself and others who are able to achieve a certain amount of success in an area that isn't sports or entertainment to be vocal, to share our stories, to let them know you can be more than just, man. It's one of the things I love about what LeBron is doing with, encouraging you that you're more than an athlete, you know what I mean? Because we are more than that, and we can be so much more than just that, you know what I'm saying? And so, man, I feel really, really strong about that. And that's one of the reasons why I use my platform the way I do, to voice those things, man. And then, you know, when it came to what we were able to do, providing, you know, man, we were able to send out 40,000 plus masks to hospitals and nurses and doctors all over the country that needed them, that were short of the PPE that they needed. We've always done things like that just quietly. We never really broadcasted what we've done. I've always felt conflicted about that, you know what I mean, of showing and telling the charity that we do, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I see the other side of it too. It is important for people to know that you are being a good steward with the blessings that you have and that you are giving back and things like that. And that's, I feel that's the responsibility of anybody who's been blessed, is to be a blessing to somebody else, but especially in doing what we're doing with the faith-based sports apparel brand. Like, that's got to be built into what you're doing. You have to find a way to bless others, because that's the ultimate goal to this. It's bigger than just a dope hoodie or a shirt or whatever the case may be. You know, it's, are you impacting lives for Christ? Are you helping others? Are you doing what Jesus would be doing? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, us being able to do that, man, is something that I'm extremely proud of. Because like I said, it's bigger than just the brand or the product itself.
That's funny, bro. It's ironic that you said that. Are you doing what Jesus would be doing? Active faith is the new what would Jesus do?
Facts,
hey,
facts,
hey,
facts.
that's like, I don't know if anybody ever put it to you like the best, but like y'all taking over the what would Jesus do? Like,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know, that because that was a thing.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like when we was growing
yeah.
up, that was that was like they had the
At the
little break, like what
wristband,
would
yeah,
Jesus? You know, that was a little
yeah.
thing for a long time, man. So, but no, man, I really do appreciate you sharing your story, your testimony, bro. Blessing the podcast with your amazing story, man. I appreciate
Yeah.
you taking the time. Uh, man, it's all love. I appreciate it, man. Y'all
Yes, sir.
keep doing your thing, man. Y'all stay safe out there, and you know, and be careful during this pandemic that we in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you having me, man. I think it's great what you're doing, man. Best of success with this podcast, man. I think it's dope, for guys who grew up where we grew up, man, to remain connected the way we have been. It's a lot of mutual respect there, man. So, man, much love and many blessings to you and your family, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man.